Chapter 1357. The spiritual energy devourer wiggled its enormous body as it made its way towards Wilbur, its spear-like front limbs ready to attack as Wilbur watched on with furrowed brows. The spiritual energy devourer, like its name, was actually capable of usurping others' spiritual energy. This was unlike anything Wilbur had ever seen before. His gaze darkened as he raised a hand, casting a series of thunder attacks. Sure enough, the chain of lightning was completely usurped by the spiritual energy devourer as well, only causing the runes on its body to glow even brighter. This creature was capable of absorbing the spiritual energy from the attacks it received and using them to strengthen itself. The spiritual energy devourer would definitely be an impossible threat to most cultivators. Behind it, more and more Mantis warriors continued to appear. The smug look on the three elders' faces made Wilbur sneer. "Don't celebrate just yet. Huh! Can you take on the spiritual energy devourer? The Great Will created it just to take down mighty heroes like you. You have no choice but to just await your death. The spiritual energy devourer shall feed on all of you, which will only make it stronger." Colton laughed wildly. Just then, Wilbur put away Dark Disperse before taking out the historical halberd. This was a weapon that weighed over 100,000 kilograms, a terrifying weapon that had been forged after thousands of years of cultivation. The weight of it alone was enough to crush countless beings. Wilbur held the halberd, letting out a cry as he channeled all of his energy into the weapon. The historical halberd lit up with deep red energy flames rolling with symbols at once. The flames came from Wilbur's pure physical energy and powerful dragon's energy. The next second, Wilbur whipped the halberd about before charging towards the spiritual energy devourer. The incoming Mantis warriors were swept aside by the sheer force of the halberd. The insect's armor crumbled upon contact with the halberd, their bodies breaking into pieces, and some were even ground to a paste. No Mantis warrior could even get close to Wilbur. Within what seemed like mere seconds, Wilbur had managed to make his way up to the spiritual energy devourer. The spiritual energy devourer let out a strange howl, flailing its front limbs in the air as it stabbed Wilbur countless times. The rampant spiritual energy brought about fierce winds as the roof of the entire cellar threatened to rip off. Just then, Wilbur swiped the historical halberd across horizontally. Both the centipede's front limbs were crushed at once. The crushed pieces were smashed to smithereens and jammed into the walls after a deafening explosion. Wilbur ran into the spiritual energy devourer's arms. A loud explosion could be heard as the spiritual energy devourer was sent stumbling backward. Wilbur raised the historical halberd, leaving a trail of shadows as he brought it down. A dull hum rang through the air as runes on the spiritual energy devourer lit up. The next second, the spiritual energy devourer's defenses seemed to falter under this attack from Wilbur. The centipede's armor crumbled as its body fell to the ground in broken pieces. Following that, Wilbur absorbed all of its spiritual energy as his historical halberd lit up with roaring spirit flames and lightning. A gigantic bolt of thunder struck the dimensional door. The underground cellar was filled with a terrifying amount of rampant spiritual energy, ripping the roof of the cellar clean off as the rampant spiritual energy rushed into the air and brought about a fierce wind. Moonlight streamed into the cellar in its sorry state. The spiritual energy devourer, the insects, and the corpses of the Church of the Flame Dragon Lord members turned to ashes and faded into the night sky under the impact of this rampant spiritual energy. The tainted believers of the Pumito cult were only unharmed because of Wilbur's spiritual barrier. Wilbur stood eyeing Colton and the others coldly under the moonlight, taking in the look of utter horror on their faces. None of them could believe that this man could be so terrifyingly powerful. It was important to note that the spiritual energy devourer was powerful enough to overcome spiritual energy attacks and was also at the sanctuary level. That combination made it practically impossible to beat.